Big tech is currently spending billions of dollars on a single goal, winning the war for your attention. Every notification that buzzes your wrist, every infinite scroll that never runs out, every autoplay that fires before you even decide you want more. These are not accidents. These are not features. These are tactical strikes engineered by rooms full of neuroscientists, behavioral economists, and machine learning architects, all aimed at one target: you. And here is what makes 2026 different from every year before it. The AI-driven platform updates that rolled out this year did not just get better at recommending content, they got better at reading your hesitation. They can now detect the exact microsecond your scroll slows and serve you something so precisely calibrated to your psychology that your prefrontal cortex does not stand a chance. So let me ask you something directly. When was the last time you sat with a single task, no tab switching, no phone glance, no mental side trip, for more than 15 uninterrupted minutes? If you're struggling to remember, you are already in the war, and you are currently losing it. But what if you could deploy a 4-minute shield that makes you functionally untouchable? What if the most powerful cognitive protection available today takes less time than a single song? Stay with me, because in the next several minutes, I'm going to walk you through the exact protocol, grounded in the latest neuroscience, that will let you reclaim your attention, starting the moment this video ends. The battlefield of the 2026 attention economy. Let me give you a number that should make you stop cold. The average knowledge worker in 2026 loses 11 minutes of focused cognitive output every single time they glance at a notification. Not the 30 seconds it takes to read it, 11 full minutes. Because your brain does not simply look away and look back. It has to completely reconstruct the mental architecture of whatever deep work it was doing before the interruption. Researchers call this cost attention residue, and it is silently compounding against you every working hour of every day. Now here is where it gets genuinely alarming. The average professional receives 74 digital interruptions per workday. Do that math with me. That is not a productivity problem. That is a catastrophic daily hemorrhage of your most valuable asset, your capacity for clear, connected, original thought. And here is what most productivity conversation gets completely wrong. The enemy is not the notifications themselves. The enemy is the dopamine reward architecture that has been deliberately engineered to make you crave the interruption before it even arrives. Your brain has been trained through thousands of micro-reward cycles across months and years to anticipate the ping, the buzz, the little red badge. And that anticipation alone is enough to break your concentration even when your phone is lying face down on the other side of the room. The 2026 AI personalization updates made this structurally worse. Previous platforms competed for your attention after you opened the app. The new generation competes for your attention before you open anything. They have quietly elevated your baseline anxiety levels. They have made silence feel like you're missing something urgent. They have made uninterrupted stillness feel like a symptom rather than a strength. This is not conspiracy. This is documented, peer-reviewed behavioral architecture. And once you see it as the system it is, you stop fighting it with willpower, because willpower was never built to beat a billion-dollar learning model. The 4-minute shield was. The neurological vulnerability of modern minds. Now, I want to shift from the external machine to something more personal, and I want you to stay with me here, because this is the part most people skip, and it's the reason most focus protocols ultimately fail. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for complex reasoning, creative problem-solving, and sustained attention, is metabolically expensive. It burns glucose fast. And under chronic low-grade stress from constant context switching, it starts making a very predictable trade-off. It trades depth for speed. It starts optimizing for quick responses, fast reactions, short answers, surface-level processing, because that's what's been consistently rewarded by your digital environment. Every time you quickly read a message, tapped a reply, and received a response, your brain logged that as a success.
Every time you finished a long, uninterrupted deep work session, the reward came hours later, if it came at all. You have been neurologically mistrained by your own workflow. And here is the part I want you to sit with for just a moment, because this matters more than anything else in this video. You are not undisciplined. You are not weak. You are not lazy. You are wired. Your brain adapted perfectly to the environment it was placed in. That is not a character flaw. That is biology working exactly as designed. But here is what the research published in the last 18 months confirms, and this genuinely changes everything you think you know about focus training. You can interrupt that cycle in as little as 240 seconds. Not through a 2-hour meditation retreat, not through deleting every app on your phone, not through some elaborate morning routine that falls apart by Tuesday. Through a precise physiological and cognitive reset sequence that takes 4 minutes, works anywhere, and re-anchors your prefrontal cortex to a single, high-value objective with measurable neurological effect. Now, let me show you exactly how it works. The 4-minute SHIELD protocol. 4 minutes, 3 phases, 1 transformation in how your brain engages with work. Phase 1, sensory cutoff. 60 seconds. The first step is to physically sever the dopamine feedback channel. Not just mute it, sever it. This means your phone goes face down in a drawer, not on silent on your desk, not face down within reach, out of your visual field entirely. This is not a preference recommendation. A Stanford study confirmed that the mere visual presence of a smartphone, even locked, even silent, reduces available working memory capacity by up to 20% through what researchers call the brain drain effect of passive self-regulation. Your brain is quietly spending cognitive resources, resisting the urge to check, even when you consciously believe you are ignoring it. Remove the object, remove the cost. For 60 seconds, you simply sit in your environment. No screen, no audio, no input of any kind. You are not trying to think deeply yet. You are simply stopping the flood. Phase 2, the physiological reset. Now, with intention, not passively, with actual intention, take 1 slow breath in through your nose. 4 counts in, hold for 2, 6 counts out. We take the breath so we can grow the life. That is not a mantra, that is the mechanism. That single extended exhale directly activates your parasympathetic nervous system. It lowers cortisol.
It restores oxygenated blood flow to your prefrontal cortex. It physically reverses the stress state that fragmented your focus, not metaphorically, measurably on a physiological level. Do this 3 times. You are now at 180 seconds, 3 minutes in. Phase 3, micro-priming, 90 seconds. This final phase is where most focus routines collapse because they stop at the reset and forget the aim. You have cleared the noise. Now you must tell your brain what to point at. In the final 90 seconds, write by hand if possible, 1 sentence in this precise format. Right now, I am working on specific task until specific end condition. Not a to-do list, not a vague intention, 1 sentence, specific task, specific stopping condition. That sentence activates your brain's reticular activating system, the neurological filter that decides what information is relevant and what gets ignored. When you give it a clear, written, specific target, it locks in. Everything that is not that target gets classified as background noise. You have just built a cognitive lens. Total deployment time, 4 minutes. Total requirement, 1 piece of paper and the decision to begin. That is your shield. Fortifying your environment for deep work. And here is something I need to tell you right now before we go further, because this is where the protocol gets 10 times more powerful. The 4-minute shield gets you into focus, but if your environment is still a notification minefield, you will need to redeploy it every few minutes. So you pair the shield with what I call a zero signal zone. And in 2026, the tools to build one have never been more accessible. The hardware layer, the most underused focus tool that costs you nothing. Airplane mode, scheduled, not manually triggered when you remember, scheduled, automatically at the operating system level during your highest value work hours. Most current devices support this natively. Apps cannot override it, notifications cannot breach it. You have created a technological air gap between your brain and the machine that wants to disrupt it. The software layer, pair your shield trigger with an automated app blocker that fires simultaneously. There are now tools that integrate directly with your calendar so that when a deep work block begins, the blocker activates without requiring a separate decision from you. This is critical because the moment you have to consciously choose not to check something, you have already spent cognitive capital that should be going toward your work. The visual layer, and this one surprises people every time. A cluttered physical desk is not just aesthetically unpleasant, it is a measurable cognitive tax. Visual complexity in your immediate environment elevates cortisol and fragments sustained attention. Before every shield deployment, spend 30 seconds clearing your visual field. One surface, one task open, one screen visible. The physical simplicity is a signal. It tells your nervous system this is a depth state, not a reaction state. Now let me show you what this actually compounds into over time, because this is the part that will make you genuinely angry you did not start this earlier. If you protect 2 hours of genuine, uninterrupted deep focus per working day using this protocol, and the documented average in 2026 is less than 40 minutes of real focused work per day, you are not doing slightly better than your peers. You are producing 3 times the deep cognitive output every single day. And here's why that gap is not linear. Deep cognitive work produces asymmetrical results. The breakthroughs, the original insights, the creative connections, the skill compression that happens in a genuine flow state is categorically different in quality from what gets produced in a fractured attention state. You are not just doing more, you are reaching a register of thinking that the distracted mind is biologically incapable of accessing. Researchers studying this trend have begun documenting what they call the Deep Work Dividend, the measurable, compounding career and creative advantage that separates professionals who protect their attention from those who allow it to be auctioned off hour by hour to the algorithmic highest bidder. And the most important thing I can tell you about that divide, it is not decided by your intelligence. It is not decided by your talent or your work ethic or your ambition. It is decided by who controls your attention, you or the system engineered to take it. So here's your challenge. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, right now, before this video ends, before the algorithm queues up whatever comes next, before you even reach for your phone, set a 4-minute timer. Put your device in a drawer. Take 3 deliberate breaths. Write 1 sentence about exactly what you're going to build, solve, or create, and when you're going to stop. That's your shield, deployed, active, protecting your most valuable resource from the most sophisticated theft operation in human history. We take the breath so we can grow the life. That's what this channel is built on, and subscribe. Not hacks, not shortcuts, the fundamental biological act of taking back your own mind and growing something real with it. The war for your attention is the defining conflict of this era. The machines are real, the architecture is real, but so is your capacity to fight back. Drop your first session time in the comments below. I want to see how many clean minutes you hit on your first deployment. And if this gave you a real edge today, share it with one person who's losing the focus war. Because the most powerful thing we do here is grow together. I'll see you in the next one.